trying to get over whatever that was. I don't know if it's a flu or what. And I thought about that and what we could do about it. So that's what this afternoon is about. But there are some things that I'm going to say this afternoon that, we probably don't associate normally with sickness. Let's go through some of the things that I mentioned before. Brother Michael did an excellent presentation some months ago about a certain system in the body that is responsible for Homeland security. Anybody know what that system is? The immune system. Very good. Immune system. So there are Homeland security. The thing is that they don't work alone in the body. Prior to, I'd say about 10 years now, medical establishment thought that, the immune system is what took care of it. But comes to find out from much research that it's not the only system in the body that is involved in protecting us from infections and sickness in general. So just a brief review. Anybody can tell me the names of the parts of the body that are involved in the immune system? Remember what Michael showed us that day and taught us that day. Let me see if you're good students. The spleen, okay, Sister Francis, you got it all over there. Let me hear you. She already mentioned spleen and liver. What else? No. Skin. Who said skin? Yay?
The thymus gland.
What else?
The thymus gland.
Thymus gland. And thymus gland is located right here in your chest.
The lymph nodes, which are scattered throughout the body in various places.
The what?
Lymph nodes.
Lymph nodes. Very good. Lymph nodes.
Like the larger one would be the tonsils behind the ear, under the arms, behind the knees, and the Peyer's patch in the stomach.
Right. Peyer's patch is in there. Where is that located? Intestines. Intestines. So it's a lot of different places, right, in different parts of the body that have specific functions with regard to immunity. Okay, so it starts really up here. And don't forget, we have a brain that controls certain functions also, okay? So we got tears, we got the adenoids and the tonsils in the back of our throats there. And a lot of people freely remove their tonsils for any kind of spurious reasons, mostly because doctors want to get paid. Because for a lot of us, it's not necessary. I remember as a kid having sore throats quite often. But had we dug deeper, we'd have found out that I should have just stopped eating dairy. So much dairy, and that would have fixed that. So we've got saliva, and then we've got the bone marrow that produces certain cells. We got the thymus gland, which is like the business center for the immune system, the thymus gland. And of course, intestines. We're going to come back to that. But that's basically our immune system. If we accept the fact that God made us, and when God made man, he made him what? What's a good adjective? Beautifully. Perfect. Yes. Perfect in organization, beautiful in form. That's what Ellen White, how she describes it. I think that's in something. Health, CBTH, whatever that means. Yes, so she says, beautiful in form and perfect in organization. Would you say that the human race today is the same? Far from it. Far from it. I mean, the organs are still there where he put it, and they function. But to a great extent, the world, as she describes it, is a Lazarus house of sickness and disease, primarily because we put ourselves there. For the most part, not in every case. Now, let's talk about what this immune system is supposed to do. Can you read that? It's the body's defense system against harmful bacteria, viruses, pathogens, and that's just more bad stuff. And it has various cells, as Michael described when he did his presentation. And different cells have different functions. We got the lymphocytes and the macrophages, the neutrophils. All these different cells are established in our bodies when? When do we get an immune system? When do we get an immune system? When do we get it? Is it at birth? Is it at conception? Is it birth? Now, they've found that mothers who give birth to premature babies by a cesarean section, those babies have a very difficult time in the early months of their life because they have not acquired their mother's microbes, through the usual way, which is babies passing through the mother's birth canal pick up her microbes. Microbes are growing in there, even in the amniotic fluid, and they're swallowing that. So they're starting to build their immune system, but the passage to the birth canal gives them that extra boost. So these babies born without the passage through the birth canal, just being pulled out of her tummy, don't normally have enough to make their life, their early couple of months, smooth sailing. I proved that with my last granddaughter. She was real fussy and seemed to have issues with her stomach. And they were like, what? Because the other two were breezes, They ate, they slept, they ate, and so on and so forth. Until I explained this little fact. She's going to have some more problems because the fact that her immune system, she's behind the 8 ball. It's going to take her a minute to get caught up because she wasn't born normally. So, the immune system is capable of distinguishing self from non-self, allowing it to target only foreign invaders. It also has a memory in that it recognizes stuff that it's encountered before. They're like real soldiers, They recognize them. And a properly functioning immune system is essential for maintaining overall health. And the rest of that is broken off. It should say preventing illness, okay? So if it's functional, that's its job. But we think of the immune system as those things, that do their thing whenever we face something that's unusual. And yes, that's their job, but there's something that most of us don't pay attention to on a regular basis, and that is the connection between our gut microbiome and illness and our immune system. And there is a relationship. There's a very pronounced relationship, as a matter of fact. The research to date is vast. You couldn't possibly finish reading all that in anytime soon, because they're now still in the middle of discovering more and more ways that your gut microbiome controls a lot of illnesses that people suffer from. And I mean, I'm not talking just bacteria or viruses like the common cold, But things like, you see the list there, IBD, which is irritable bowel disease, infectious diseases, of course, obesity, interesting, that the gut microbiome has anything to do with that, yes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, autoimmune disease. And what I found out after I had made that slide was also even behavioral problems, mental problems, and autism. Autism seems to be on the rise, doesn't it? I mean, like, practically every family I meet has at least one child who suffers from some degree of it. Might not be a full-blown thing, but it definitely is there. And people are so casual about it now because it's so prevalent that, it's almost a joke. Because people say things like, you're on the spectrum. And I'm like, okay, what exactly does that mean? If you act a little different than somebody else, they say, you're probably a little autistic. Well, yeah, it could be. It definitely could be. Because everybody has a gut microbiome, yeah? Everybody does. And whatever you inherited from your mother, I can bet money on it, it's no longer the same thing today. How does it change? We're not possessing that pristine microbiome any longer. Why? What changes it? Anybody knows? Huh? Lifestyle, specific, be more specific. Diet and lifestyle, okay? Basically, that's it. And what scientists have found is that beginning with the skin, which is the largest organ in the immune system, beginning with the skin, we treat the skin so casually. We have showers and everything, but we get cuts and we never, treat them because they heal by themselves quickly. It's guaranteed your immune system is created and it is supposed to heal itself. But it doesn't get to do that much when it comes to diet because we continue to eat the same wrong things day after day after day after day. We like what we like, basically. That's what it is. And so we eat what we like, what tastes good. And so if this goes on long enough and the gut microbiome gets to be tired, it's not going to be able to do as good a job as it should. Now, what does that have to do with our immune system? Well, the gut microbiome and the immune system are tied. They're in lockstep. If we put into our bodies the things that build up our bodies, then the immune system is going to function in the way it's supposed to. If we do not, then it's not going to function the way it's supposed to. Now, when people say, I don't feel well, that's kind of vague, right? And we tend to ignore that we don't feel good today. Or we just go on and do like everybody does, push on, go to work, come home, go do what we got to do. We ignore these feelings because we've learned to live with a certain level of uncomfortable feelings, right? If we have a headache, if it's bad enough, somebody's going to do something about it. Isn't that the case? Right. What are you likely to do if you got a headache? Is that the first thing you think of? Very good, very good, very good. Anybody else? Massage, very good too. Why are you massaging? Does it help the headache to go away? massage, right? Cayenne pepper. See, you know I could teach the class. Because I'm thinking that you guys have sat through so many lectures of this sort that you could probably teach a class. So those are things that you could use to relieve distress at the moment, right? Very good. So, but people who are outside of this body of educated, well-educated citizens, what would they be most likely to do? Pop a pill, Tylenol, aspirin, whatever is at hand, Advil, that's a popular one, ibuprofen, my goodness. And those things by themselves help to mess up the gut microbiome. Scientists are only now beginning to understand why it is that people live these days in a state of what they call, trying to find the word, it's in one of these slides, dysbiosis, which is meaning that your gut microbiome is not where it should be. But people live like that for years. And I've heard people complain of various things for a long time. But they don't think that this gut that they have is the cause of the problem. Especially if the problem reoccurs over and over again, like at least once a week, every week, you got, let's say, an upset stomach, or a headache, or a runny nose, or you keep getting the same symptoms over and over and over again. You say, oh, I always get that, and you keep moving, you know. That's the time you stop and think, what is causing this? So with regard to the half the church being sick with some kind of flu over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we got to look at, and some people got over it real quick. I had a touch of it on Thanksgiving, but by Saturday, Sunday, I was fine. I felt bad Friday, stayed home, rested, and by Sunday, I was better. So I'm saying, if it goes on longer than a few days, you got to look at the cause. If you look at the cause and you figure out what the cause is, the cure is very straightforward usually, right? So this dysbiosis is causing our immune system to be depressed. And when our immune system is depressed, our soldiers are not working for us. They're just not doing their job. And so we need to figure out how to improve our gut flora so that our immune system can function properly. It is the only way that I know to take care of illness. That is what we have been counseled. First, find the cause out. Cause, you can treat it easily once you know the cause. Nobody ever looks for cause, though. They try to say that, oh, the whole house has that. Okay, but doesn't mean you have to. Take care of yourself, saints. Things are coming up in our lives that are going to demand good health, are going to demand strong bodies, are going to demand a lot more from us than we currently put out. So if we're not well, it's not going to go well with us. Okay. So we find out from science that the immune system is built and established and maintained by the gut flora. And we have all kinds. Do you know that there's more than, what did they say, 100 trillion bacteria inside there? I don't even know what 100 trillion looks like, but I'm thinking it's a lot. And I'm thinking that's more than me, than my body, maybe my skin even has. So it's more than our DNA. We are taken over by bacteria internally and externally. 100 trillion is a large number. And if you think about it, though, God has made our bodies so perfectly that the bacteria in there, the good bacteria that is built to handle anything that comes through. We don't really believe that, you know. We don't really believe that. But that's what the Bible says. When he was finished making man, and consider that. I mean, the God of heaven, the owner of heaven and earth, stooped down with his own hands and made us with love, you know. So he didn't make halfway. He did. When he was finished, he said everything was what? It was good. It was good. That means it was perfect. Yeah. And it's continued all these centuries later, still working, you know, still working. If we give it what he ordained for it to have, which is what? Exactly. A good diet? You think that's it? So let's go back to the first one you mentioned. Let's go back to diet. What would you think is the reason why people have upset stomachs so often? Huh? I got to hear you. Say it so I can hear you. Anybody? It's because of what they eat, right? Yeah. So the typical American diet, we don't even eat that, right? Right? We don't eat that. So you're not like, you know, let me tell you, in the hospital, what did Deacon Ragland just say? True. In the hospital, I remember my first nursing job. I worked for a downstate hospital, transplant unit. And the first day of work, now I was a vegan then, and I was Adventist, but you know, I had kind of, you know, in and out and stuff. So I go down to the cafeteria. I'm hungry because they had us in this, you know, training thing. And I see a line, and I'm thinking, whoa, what's for lunch today, you know? So I'm asking the person in front of me, why all these people are here? He said, oh, they got burgers today. And I said, burgers? Yeah. And he says, but they're good. They're so good. And I'm thinking to myself, these are doctors and nurses, all, you know, pharmacists and so on and so forth with their white lab coats, and they're queuing up like everybody else for these burgers. But this is a hospital cafeteria. You know what I'm saying? So I started looking. So that week, every day I would go down there, and the food was basically nasty. So I went home and I thought about it, and I started saying, you know what, I'm going to just take my lunch because I can't deal with, first of all, standing online to get food that's not appetizing, okay? So I did. But I worked there for a number of years, and I saw people go from skinny to, you know, weightier a little bit. I saw the guys go to pot bellies. So I'm thinking to myself, man, but if we're a medical establishment, you know, how is this possible? So, well, I excused my fatness because I was pregnant at the time. So, but in reality, looking back, that was just an excuse, you know. So I looked at that and I made note of it, and I never ate there after that. I just didn't go because it wasn't good. But I'm reliably informed that it's still the same. People come there to work, they go to the cafeteria for lunch, and food is not good. So burgers was on everybody's mind that day. So it's what we eat. And we could have burgers as vegans, can't we? Tasty burgers. Yes, yes, we can. Now,
Okay, hold on. I just got a text from Sister Deborah.
uh-huh.
They said they cannot hear any of y'all's input because nobody's raising their hand for the mic to
Oh.
come around.
Okay. I'm sorry, I've been engaging people, you know. You're the only one with the mic, huh? Yeah, you'll get a workout, that's all right. So, okay, we wanna concentrate on our diet for the next few minutes. So they found out that these beneficial, because you know, in our gut microbiome, we have good bacteria, we have bad bacteria, we got parasites, worms, and things. But usually, the good bacteria keeps everybody in check if we give it the right food. What's the right food? You have to speak into the mic. Thank you.
Fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains. The Edenic diet.
Nuts and seeds. Fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. In other words, a high fiber diet. Believe it or not, the good bacteria love fiber. If you want to change your gut bacteria, increase your fiber. Now there's soluble and insoluble and all that good stuff, but fiber in any form is beneficial to your gut. And that's what we want to impact if we want to impact our immune system, right? High fiber. So what has high fiber? She said nuts, fruit, nuts, grains, vegetables. Okay, Brother Michael.
I was going to sum up Sister Debbie's by saying Genesis 1:29, but it basically has all those things you said.
Exactly.
And the fiber and all of those things help the gut by minimizing or even eliminating the irritable bowel and irritable bowel syndrome, and not being able to release the toxic waste, which messes all of that up.
Exactly. So the fiber has two functions. The good bacteria chomp on that stuff. They love it, causes them to flourish. And the insoluble stuff, the fiber that's not digestible, helps with eliminating wastes easily. Okay? You don't want that staying internally. So our diet is pretty much laid out in the Bible as Michael outlined, what we're supposed to be eating. But do we eat that way?
Where? Yeah, Brother Mike said in the food group. No?
In the food group, we try. Thank you.
At home, it's supposed to be like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
in the food group, at home, wherever. Remember now,
I'm on the
I said this something. Health is not an event, you know. It's a habit. It's a habit, a daily thing. You know, I never used to really think about what I'm eating. I just eat whatever people buy and put in the house, you know. I cook that and we eat it because that's what we like. But I have become, over the years, much, much more intentional. When I put together a grocery list, I'm thinking about high fiber, okay? Do I have enough greens here? Do I have coconut here? Do I have almond meal or teff or some other flour than plain old white flour? So the other part of the diet for us is the high fiber, but also no processed food. And that's where a lot of people, you know, kind of come up. No processed food, because it's the processing that makes it empty. They add things that were previously subtracted and just put back a little bit to say that it is fiber, but actually it has no fiber. Processed food, like the things they sell in cans. When I became vegan and then I tried to convert my family, we were using a lot of the canned stuff because they wanted, like the same. And one day I bought that thing at the what's the place? The Book and Bible, ABC? It's a long thing. What do you call that? Dinner roast.
Okay.
Dinner roast. Meanwhile, the way I fixed it, the kids, oh, that's cool. Let's have that. But a day I was looking at the list, I guarantee, is like this long. Ingredients. Lots of the things I did not recognize. Whatever those were. They were chemicals. They weren't real. So the taste had nothing to do with it. There was no nutritional value in that piece of whatever it was. Tasted good when you made a nice gravy and baked it, but it did not do your body good. When I think of the wasted money and years on that foolishness, I'm really upset with myself. So I'm telling you, when you go shopping, think real food, like the stuff you could pick off of a tree. Yeah. And people say to me, oh yeah, like my sisters, oh yeah, you're gonna go buy that organic. You don't even know if it's organic. I said, I really don't care. If it says organic, I'm getting it because I'm worth it. They think it's too expensive. Yeah, you go try to pay a hospital bill at Northside, then talk to me about expense. See, I'd rather avoid those people at all costs. So if it means getting what is best for my body, then I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm worth it. I'm made by God's own hand. Come on. Okay? So the next one. So for diet, we're thinking what? High fiber, right? What else? No processed food. No processed food. Well, if you have to have processed food, and processed food is anything you can buy in a box, a bottle, a can. No, I'm not saying don't open a can of chickpeas if you rush home from work late and you got to eat something. That is not what I'm talking about. Because there's fiber anyhow, whether it's in a can or not. I'm talking about the processed meats and stuff that have long lists of ingredients. That's the kind of processed food I'm talking about. If you're going to buy burger buns, do not buy the white stuff at Kroger. It is so useless. It just clogs your system. It does not provide nutrition. It's a waste of space in your tummy. So, that much for our diet. Now, the next one is exercise regularly. Now, those who know me a long time know I was never, a fanatic about exercise. I lived a sedentary life, basically. But over the years, I've become aware that that lifestyle is the surest way to die early. It's been shown in so many studies, I've lost count of what I've read about it, that the people who exercise regularly live the longest. They actually live to be 100 and 100 and something. Look at the people in Loma Linda, the Blue Zone people, Okinawa, Sardinia. Their lifestyle is outdoors a lot. They eat sparingly of flesh foods, and, Loma Linda, no flesh foods, and they walk. They exercise every day. Exercise regularly. Now, I don't say you have to climb mountains like Dr. Hulda Crooks. She was in her 70s when she took up hiking. I'm like, okay. But she did it. She climbed mountains. I can barely make it. Jello, how far did I get up that place? Minty, you could. Okay, Michael, there's no reason to laugh. All right. I attempted. I got up close to the top. Thank you. But walking, I like. Climbing, that's another story. I will try. But every day you gotta do something. You can't just sit at your job all day and then you come home and you quick and then you sit to eat and you sit to watch TV and you sit to chat with the family and it's nighttime. You gotta go to bed. That's more laying down, resting. So you must. So I would get up from my desk and go outside and walk. And pretty soon I had somebody joining me there, a much younger lady that I was talking to. She started to join me and she said, this is real good. I'm going to keep this up even on the weekends when we're not here. And I'm like, good for you. I applaud you. Brother Michael,
I'm not sure if we can interject or you want to wait to the end or not, but
No.
but the great benefit of the exercise is the strengthening of your bones and your muscles, the toning of them, which it gives you that shape, and then it helps with the circulation of the blood. That is what becomes so stagnant and we become so sedative and about dead. So it's the circulation and the strengthening.
So if you have joint pains and all that good stuff, walking will help. It most certainly will. The other thing about moving is that part of the immune system resides in the bones, especially the longer bones. Bone marrow, right, has immune cells in them that contribute to our well-being and our health. And so movement that engages our feet and our arms, brisk walking, definitely helps with boosting our immune system. How about number 3? Hydrate. I know. When we're at work, it's hard to do, right? But really, you have to be intentional. This is the thing that I have found. If you make up your mind to do something because it's what God asked you to do, you'll get it done. You see? So before you leave home to go to wherever it is you're going, fill up your water bottle. And I worked with a young lady years ago, and she had a timer on her computer. And every 5 minutes, till I got irritated, it would sing something to her, and she'd like, oops, water. And she'd drink some water. And then it would bing again, oops, 10 minutes, I gotta walk. And she'd get up and she'd walk around the office and come back. But I admired her persistence, you see? She made it a priority, and she made it a habit. And after a while, she didn't have to have those things anymore. She could remember to drink her water and to get up and walk, So hydration, and I have inside and outside. Now, I was talking to Menti about, his cold last week, and I said, a hot and cold shower is one of the best things we could do when sickness attacks us like that. And I would recommend that for anything. You know what? If you feel a little feverish, if you feel a little, off, a hot and cold shower. And what does it do for the system, So they're recommended that you step into the shower when it's warm. You turn up the faucet, the hot water faucet, and let that run on you as hot as you can bear it, okay? Hot as you can bear it, probably for like 10 minutes. Don't burn yourself. And now diabetics would need to be careful. This is not for diabetics, because if you have some kind of diabetic neuropathy on you can't feel your toes or fingers, then you have to be careful with heat.
Wow.
But for everybody else, You can step under that shower and stay under there for like 10 minutes, let that hot water run over your body. And then you turn that off while turning on the cold. Now, you don't have to go all the way cold, but as cold as you can bear it. And you do that for 10 seconds. I went to a retreat once, and they did that with us, and you had a sauna. You were in the sauna, and then straight from the sauna, you'd go to a warm shower. You're hot already, but you go into a warm shower. And then they put us in the shower and said, okay, we'll be back in a minute. And yes, it was less than a minute, and there was ice water. And I mean, there was ice cubes in it. Poured on you. And you're like, ugh. But I'm telling you, when we were done with that, you could run up a mountain, really. It energized the whole body. And I thought I would feel like real wasted when it was over, but no. Tremendous amount of energy thereafter. And I've proved it with colds and fevers and flu. When you take a hot shower followed by a cold, you make sure you dry quickly and thoroughly, and then take a rest. Get on the covers. Fever will be no more. Sweat it out. Yes, a question, sir. So I highly recommend the hot and cold. That's what I mean by inside and outside. You use water.
You said 10 minutes for the hot. Did you mean 10 seconds or minutes?
No, we were under there for more than 10 seconds.
So 10 minutes for the hot and then 10 seconds for the cold?
Some people say 3 minutes for the hot and 10 seconds
for the cold.
For the cold. Nobody could take the cold for any length of time. But the hot, as long as you can bear it, honey, but no more probably than 10 minutes.
Yeah. When Kaylee was born premature, back to that premature, she was 4 pounds when she was born. And so her breathing, her lung wasn't,
Inflated.
So they kept her for a little while. But from that age to about 10 years old, she always had this croup cough. But that was it. She never get colds or anything. Strong child for a premature baby. She'd never get sick except for that croup cough thing that she had, that she grew out of. Now, the hydrotherapy, she always gets like fever. I did this with Kaylee and Caitlin, where I would do the hot foot bath, the hot and cold. So they told me to do like 3 minutes of the hot as they could bear it, and then put it in the ice cube water, and it works. When I put their little jumpy thing on, I do it for myself too, and they would sweat. The bed would literally be wet. They you make sure they dress like really, really warm. Lots of blankets and stuff. And in about 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the fever was gone. They sweat it out.
Yeah.
So I know it works. It works beautifully.
The only thing about fever is that it makes you feel a little icky, right? But actually, fever is our friend.
Yes.
It's not our foe. It just simply tells us that the body, the immune system is working, okay? It is working to make us better. So usually, only if the fever goes up like about higher than 102, 102.5, then I would try to do something, because at that point you get really uncomfortable. But usually a fever that can be tolerated, like if it's who was it? One of my daughters got me, 101. And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll watch it. You sure? Yes, we'll watch it. Give her a nice cool rub down with cool towel and put her to bed. And so you assist the body by those things. What you want to do is nothing radical and outrageous. You want to assist your body with these healing episodes. Yes, Brother Michael?
God is just so wonderful to his people. We have this little pink track out on the desk most of the time, hydrotherapy. And he's taught us all the principles. And I remember when I was going through the MME, Sister Lyles did such a wonderful job teaching us the hydrotherapy part. But you know, the world always takes these things. Professional footballers now, they you know, they used to pop the pills because of the pain of thrashing and bashing each other. Now they, after a game, they go and run and jump into ice bath, which is another aspect of hydrotherapy. They jump in. That ice cold water makes the blood circulate, it affects the muscles, and their aches and pains and hurts go away much quicker.
Much quicker, yes. And a lot of athletes, if you check now, they are vegan. They're vegan. And I listened to one guy in a podcast, and he said that he found that he thought he would be weaker, but he's actually stronger. And he says he never knew that food, just food alone, because that's the only thing really that he changed. He never knew that food could create a whole new person. And I thought, wow, that's a powerful testimony. The athletes, and he doesn't profess belief in God or anything, but he knows what's best for his body. And he wants to last a long time. I think he's a footballer. He wants to last a long time, so he knows what's good for him. So we talked about our high fiber diet, which feeds the good bacteria. So we want the good bacteria in tip-top shape. And then the exercise, and then the hydration. Get enough rest, people. By 10 o'clock, we did this before, and people looked at me all strange and like, she ain't for real, 10 o'clock, really? You know, everywhere you look now, there's research being done as to the effect of a lack of sleep, especially in children. And sometimes I have to call my grandchildren and say, you're getting ready for bed? Why not? School got out yesterday, I think, day before yesterday. What are you doing, Charlie? Oh, I'm sitting here playing a game. I said, it's 10:56. That means it's almost 11. She said, yeah, but school's out. So I'm thinking, okay, what has changed here? Does your body not need sleep now? She said, yeah, perhaps, but, you know, we're off, so I take a break. You better believe I'm going to be calling on tonight, you know, because what happens with them is they follow the adults. The adults are up, so they feel they should be up too, and habits are formed by children very early, especially those with things, electronics. Bad idea. Anyway, we need to set aside and homework. Yeah. I know that's a problem. Yeah. I maintain that if teachers teach, actually, that's what I'm saying. If they would teach, then the homework would not be so burdensome when you actually get home. However, that's just my opinion. They probably would not agree with me. But between the hours of 10 and 2, people, is when your healing hormones kick in. Now, I want to make mention of a system that we don't hardly ever talk about. It's called the glymphatic system. It's not on the screen. Glymphatic system has to do with the lymph and cleaning out the brain. It has the same principles as our regular lymphatic system. You know what I'm saying? So if your brain does not get cleaned up at night, which is when this is supposed to take place between the hours of 10 and 2, when the hormone melatonin is released, it signals the body, hey, we're going down. Get to work, send the cleaners in. You know, at work, you're working in the office. They don't come cleaning when the office people are there, right? They come after everybody goes home and it's quiet, and they come in and, you know, mop and polish and do what they got to do. Same thing with our immune system. It's waiting for us to go down so it could get the job done. Only we ain't going down. So they're standing by, bucket and mop in hand, like, okay, anytime now. And we're not going down. So that brain doesn't get flushed out. You know what they said was one of the major causes for dementia, Alzheimer's, these neural diseases? One of the main causes is a lack of sleep. Lack of sleep. It builds up over time. You see, you think, well, it's just a night. I'm gonna take a break. You know, but like when I get together with my sisters, they don't believe what I believe. So they will stay up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. About 10 o'clock, you know, they start looking at me because by now they've learned. They're like, okay, you sleeping over tonight? Nah, I'm going to my house. See y'all in the next time. And I pack my bag and I go home. Because I gotta sleep. If I don't sleep the next day, I'm toast. And sometimes I don't sleep, you know, fully. And I feel it the next day. I definitely feel it the next day. So to bed, my goal is 10 o'clock. So that's what I'm going for every single night. It is what keeps us from our immune system functional, and it helps our gut microbiome too.
So when you hear people say brain fog, is that because the brain isn't getting cleaned up?
Well,
More
there
than
could
likely?
be several reasons for that, but that is one of the big ones, the lack of sleep. They say that researchers found that people who sleep an average of 4 hours a night or less have the highest rate of brain fog, dementia, and Alzheimer's. And you know, when you're doing it, you feel okay enough to go to work the next day, you drag yourself. Most people who are out there take a cup of coffee and they feel, I need my energy. You know, and I would look at them like, what in the world? That is so short term. You're gonna feel it later on, okay? Can't do that. Sleep is what the body needs. Nothing else will suffice. And God made us this way, you know? He made us this way. So we have to think about whether we want to obey God or just ourselves. Yes, sir.
It does make a difference. Just because of my profession, I know what that is like. And there are days, especially when I work these really odd hours, I'm like, I joke with Chris a lot when we speak, because he and I speak about it so much, but I tell him, like, I'm a zombie today. And even away from work, oftentimes I'll go into a room and pause. And like, why did I come in here? And it would take me a minute or two for it to kind of click. And sometimes I would actually leave the room, go start doing something else, and remember, this is why I went in that room. You know, so yeah, it does play a role.
So see, your body knows it. Like I said, it is set up on these principles. That's how God created us. And so these principles, if we don't put them into practice in our lives, knowing is not enough. As I said in last week in Health and Temperance, we know a whole lot better than we do. It's sad, but that is what is true. So get enough rest. Go to bed by 10 o'clock. And I'll tell you something else about this. You know, if you do something more than once, like back to back to back, you'll see how your body adjusts quickly, especially if it's something that the body requires. So like that sleeping by 10 o'clock, if you make a habit and say, no matter what I'm doing, okay, I'm done for tonight, shut everything down, you know, brush your teeth, do whatever you got to do and go to bed. The next night, about that time, your body will start feeling a little, you do it again. The next night, for sure, your body is telling you, okay, we supposed to go somewhere, right? I think it's bed. So it starts to tell, it's true, it starts to tell you. By 9 o'clock, I good and well know if I don't start doing something like heading towards, the bathroom and getting out my stuff, my toothbrush, and my body will just shut down. Now, I might wake up real early, but, long as I get that 10 to 2, I'm okay. Okay. I set my alarm for 5:30 this morning, because during the week, I have no schedule, so I don't have to wake up at 5:30, but I know if I want a relaxed day, it's best to get up early and get a leisurely start to the day. Yeah, somebody else had a point.
So, I have that same issue this week with going into the refrigerator and could not remember what I went in there for. So I had to close it, go back in the kitchen, and then I remember. So I told my husband last night after we finished the meeting with Pastor, the lesson, I said to him, I think I'm losing my memory because I'm forgetting things. I don't know if it's whatever. He said, you just need to sleep more. So here you are saying that. But my question is, I could be so tired, like really tired. I'll be washing dishes or whatever, and I'm falling asleep. But once I hit the bed, I cannot sleep. It doesn't matter how late it is. It's like it takes maybe half an hour to an hour before I have to take some melatonin stuff to go to sleep. Why is that?
So let's finish this, and then we can come back to that question. Did you have a question, Betty? Okay. So we're talking about going to bed by 10 o'clock and asleep in bed by 10, between the hours of 10 and 2, when those healing hormones are released in our bellies, in our system, our immune system. Everything gets a clean up, ready for the next day. So we have to make an effort. It's no point sitting in here and hearing these and filing it away in your nice little filing system and not doing anything with it. We have to do better, because guess what? The time that we're looking for, when the power is going to be poured out on the saints, guess who's getting the power? It ain't everybody in here. Guess who's getting the power? Well, I hope it might be.
The ones that are getting the power is those who do my Father's will.
Did y'all hear that? Those who actually do his will. In other words, if you are obedient to his laws. I want to put this in here before too long. This is from Testimonies, Volume 9. It says, a solemn responsibility rests upon those who, what? Know the truth, that all their work shall correspond with their faith. Mercy. And that their lives shall be what? Refined and sanctified, that they be prepared for the work that must rapidly be done in these closing days. You think all these lectures that we're having and information that we're receiving is just for looking good? No. It is to prepare us for the work that is just before us. And as we learned, as we heard from Deacon Ragland and from the Word, what? It is for preparation for the work to be done. So if we know, we get the information, we know, we file it away, we go home and go on with life as it was before, you've wasted an afternoon, really. So I'm saying, folk, we cannot afford to do that. I'm trying to go backwards to something. Yeah, I want to read this too. My life today, there is but one power, only one, that can bring us into conformity to the likeness of Christ, that can make us steadfast and keep us constant. I want that, right? I want that. Because I'm prone to slipping back to my old ways. I don't know about you guys, but I'm prone to that. It is the grace of God that comes to us through what? Through what? Obedience to the law of God. So we hear the law, we file it, but we keep it constant before us. We do it because here, that power is going to be falling left and right and might not fall on us because we are not ready. We are not being obedient. We are putting off, but we ain't got time for putting off. That day is behind us because Christ is coming very soon for the people who love and keep his commandments. So, brethren, these afternoon lectures, it's a lot of information, but to me, I like going over it because it keeps me refreshed in my decision to do everything that I can. So, obedience to his laws, we can't get away from it. So we talked about rest, okay? How about minimizing stress? Yeah. Is it important? Yeah. How do we do that, though? Because guess what? Stress creates what in the body that's not good? Inflammation. It creates an inflammatory process in the body. And I'm not talking about the fight or flight stress, Like when somebody cuts you off in traffic, you hit the brakes and you're like, what's the matter with these people? I'm not talking about that. That stress is kind of actually good because it gets the circulation going, ready for any response that you have to make. So I'm talking about the stress that's constant. Some people call it anxiety. It's stress, though. You're worried about your husband. You're worried about your wife. You're worried about your relationship with coworkers. You're worried about your children and whether they're going to be saved or not. You worry about everything under the sun. Some people are born warriors. I had the most laid-back grandmother I ever met. She was not a talker. She was just a very good observer. And she would sit in her rocking chair and just look at the rest of us going crazy, doing whatever foolishness if she was. And then if she felt the need to say something to you, she would pull you aside and say in private what she had to say. And it usually was something for real, And so I say a lot of the things that we worry about, we should leave it with the Lord because we cannot affect a change in the situation. My children, I want them to be in church. My grandchildren, I want them to be here with me. However, they're adults, and the choice is theirs. I make that clear every time I see them and I talk to them. I've committed you to him, but it's up to you whether you stay with him or not, So all this anxiety is what causes what we call, it becomes so familiar. It's our natural state of being, stressed. We don't even realize it. Now that is the stress that is dangerous because that stress depresses our immune system. You got issues that nobody can figure out what's really wrong with you, you know. Check your gut, check your stress level, take it down. As the song says, take it to the Lord in prayer. And don't pick it back up. I had to learn that because it was just words to me before. But I had to learn, take it, leave it. Sister Lias.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that we had shared during the week. God brought this to my attention. 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith, not by sight. And the little snippet was when faith feels low, and our faith does get low sometimes, fill your mind with things that encourage you by making a conscious choice to say, God, I don't know how this will turn out, but I trust you. Do we do that? And then move forward one step at a time. I often think about the Israelites. The Red Sea did not part until the priests actually put their feet into the water. So God will not spare us these challenges in life. We have to put our feet in the water. My water may be something totally different from yours, but we've got to put our feet in the water by, showing our trust, and that will lower our stress level, and then move forward one step at a time. Even if the step is a bit shaky,
Yes.
before you know it, our faith is being built back up, still trusting. And so, along with this, not getting enough sleep and stress, whatever you want to call it,
Inflammation.
anxiety, and it definitely
People call
reaps
it that,
inflammation. These are the things that are high on the list that I used to think, really, when I was growing up, that being a good medical missionary, even in my 20s, I believed that being a good medical missionary meant, eating right and the lifestyle and believing. But I believed that if we prayed, God would always heal us until Thomas Jackson from Meat came once, and he said, God does not intend to heal everyone. And I was like, taken back by that. And I was like, well, that makes sense, because when we look at the life of Job, God did not spare him. It does not mean that he doesn't love us when he doesn't spare us, but that is our particular lot in life. And so he has given us these 8 natural health laws to help us to walk through these things. And many people are being put to sleep.
Yes.
Many people. And it is their lot for God to put them to sleep. He knows what's best for us. So when we pray, less in the vein as what I just read, we've got to trust and obey God and put that foot forward. Connect with him and let his will. We know more than we do. Lord, help us.
Yes. Sister Marlene had a question. We'll take 1 or 2 questions and then we can wrap up.
Oh, so I was saying that for me, don't care how tired I am, but once I hit the bed, I'd be falling over before I get there, but once I hit the bed, and that would be way after 10 o'clock, and I cannot fall asleep. So why is that? Or what can I do to help?
Now, I have to say I can't prescribe. I cannot prescribe for you, but there are helps for insomnia that have to do with regularity in all things. There's a whole section, I'm trying to remember if it's on Councils on Diet and Food or whether it's Ministry of Healing on the regularity in our scheduling. Because we are beings we have a circadian rhythm, And we have hormones that are released as the sun goes down that tells our body, all right, y'all, we knocked off, time to go on down. But we have ignored that signal so much that we no longer recognize it, you see. So our body doesn't know, okay, what's she doing now? Are we still up? Are we down? No, we're still up. You know, it's confused. When you lay down, if your brain is still constantly whirling with thoughts and things to do tomorrow and whatever, that's a signal right there that you need to really bring your schedule down, bring your stress down. High cortisol levels, and you know cortisol is a hormone that's and that brings me to something else. I'm sorry, folks.
That's fine.
The adrenal glands, they're small glands that sit right on top of your kidneys. These adrenal glands release hormones into the body. And I say to people who are like frequently tired, sometimes they're constantly sick, you know, they get little sicknesses all the time, and you know, they brush it off and keep going, whatever. It's adrenal insufficiency, it's adrenal tiredness that's driving this. So that is something to look at. But, like I said, I can't diagnose it. You would have to get, you know, get to your doctor and further investigate that. But insomnia, I'm going to let Brother Michael speak in a minute, and then Deacon Ragland. But again, get a schedule and try to follow it. Make it so that, you know, you can follow it. Rearrange whatever you got to rearrange so you can follow it, so that you can go down when she says it's time to go down, 10 o'clock. So about 9 o'clock, if you home, drop whatever you're doing, you can pick that up tomorrow. You know, I had to tell myself, in the general scheme of things, this ain't even important. You know, I always say, if Jesus will come in tonight, it wouldn't even matter. So, yeah. Let it go. Look, guys, life is short. You hear me? Last night, as I was finishing up with some research, I got a call from a dear friend about another dear friend. She's just maybe 2 or 3 years older than I am. And they said to me, she's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a girl who has no diseases. She doesn't get sick. She doesn't have anything going on with her, living her life. Came home from work. Apparently, I haven't gotten the details. When I get home tonight, I'm sure her brother will have sent me a long email, but went home. Don't know, nobody knows at this point what happened. The employer did not see her the next day. Called the sister, who lives in way up north, Michigan or something. The sister says, get 911 on the phone and go to the house with them. The key is usually here outside, and go in. They go in, she's dead. No sickness, but a solid Seventh-day Adventist from birth. I knew her family from long. We've been friends for a long time. Lived a good life and tried to do the right things, but she is gone. I'm saying time is short. We ain't got time to file nothing away. Everything that we hear that is of value, we got to put in place now. Or else we're not going to be able to stand. Let's just face it, guys. We're not. Because we have not accustomed ourselves to the hard things, that putting away the hard things. We've not accustomed ourselves. It's not going to happen overnight. And we're not going to have the power of the Holy Spirit poured out if we're not ready. So I'm saying, whatever you got to do, put it away now. So rectify your schedule, regularize it, so that your body has the right cues to know, okay, the sun has been down for a minute now, and it's going down earlier now. So all about now, it's starting to wind down. By the time the sun goes down, your body has received signals saying, okay, people, they'll be getting ready for bed now, anytime now, let's go. You know, And I beat back the cues. I recognize them. But if I have something to do, I'm saying to myself, I really should go to sleep. I'm feeling a little sleepy, but I ignore it. But I'm determined. That can't continue. Because guess what? I'm not 30 nothing no more. You know? So it's not in my interest, and certainly not in my Father's interest, for us to continue as we are. As we are doesn't cut it. We've proven it. Practically everybody in church has had this flu or whatever this thing is called. So I'm saying there are several other things that you can do, but let Michael talk.
Well, this is a general statement, and it probably affects all of us. Over all of our lifetimes, we have trained and retrained our bodies outside of our being perfectly built, so to speak. We have trained and retrained it. And for most of us, we have trained and retrained it for the bad.
Unfortunately.
There is almost no way that we're going to immediately now, even at our ages especially, start doing the right thing and think it's going to take effect right now. So we got to go through a training and a retraining for some time, and that some time depends on each individual. But now we've got to train and retrain it for the good. And then ask God to do the healing and the changing of the body and the systems that we're talking about now, all of these immune systems, all of the internal organs, everything. It has to go through a training and retraining. We have done a job on our bodies and our systems, and it's not going to perhaps change overnight. It's going to take time, but we got to start doing exactly what you're saying. Shut it down.
We have
start
to.
going through
We
the
have to.
retraining and rehabilitating ourselves.
Okay, guys, Jayla is gonna throttle me if I don't stop soon. Deacon?
Yeah, I just want to deal with the last one you have there versus daylight saving time, which is they're toying with getting rid of, okay? And if we were trying to minimize stress and daylight saving time, like it gets dark at 5:30 right now.
Yeah.
I'm sleepy. My wife will tell you that. I'm yawning, right? I'm getting ready. But if they switch it back and the sun doesn't go
Takes
down,
a while.
it takes a minute. And if you're already stressed out, and on top of that, you're not going to bed, you're not getting enough sleep.
Yes.
You're not in bed by 10 because pretty much the sun is still up by 8 o'clock. And most people figure the most daylight I got, the more I can do.
Yeah, it is confusing to the body, but again, like I said, the body doesn't go by a clock. It's a circadian rhythm that follows the sun. So when the sun comes up in the morning, it is recommended that you go outside. As long as the sun is up, hot, winter, snow, whatever, summer, you go outside. Look not directly at the sun, but at the trees around you. Let the sun hit your face, your eyes. The body knows, hey, it's daytime. Get those hormones up and running, okay? And so for the nighttime, when the sun goes down, you're still, up. And as soon as it gets dark in your house or even outside, your body knows, let's shut this down, people. Start, So what I had to do was start going like about 8 o'clock. I know what's coming. I'm going to start feeling sleepy by 9. So by 8 o'clock, you close the books, shut it up, and you go do the little things you want to do before bed, if you want to have a shower or whatever. So that by the time 10 o'clock, you could get in there, pull the covers up, and off you go. If you can't fall asleep when you go there, deep breathing. It works every time. Slow, deep breaths in. Lying down, I do that. If I find that I've been lying down for like 5-10 minutes and no sleep is coming, okay, I'm doing my deep breathing, and I imagine myself on a cloud. It is so restful. And I'm gone before I know it, yes.
Wait.
Oh, I was going to say, if you go to bed and you can't sleep, pop out a book, start reading Patriots and Prophets or something like that. Your eyes will get heavy. You will, your body will relax, and you go to sleep.
She says the lights bother her, so she won't sleep.
What lights? And make your bedroom as dark as possible.
But if she wants to read, perhaps, yeah. So I have a lamp. In addition to the big light, I have a lamp that's like a dimmer light. So I can still see with that. And if I read like that, yes. So, but that's a good idea. Read if you can, or get one of those, the things that you put here. Yeah. And see if you can read like that. Maybe. But definitely that deep breathing when you're lying down like that, just do a couple of deep breaths. By the time I hit the sixth breath, I feel myself drifting, and the next thing I know, it's morning. So try that, deep breathing. All right, so I think we've exhausted our time. So I want to thank the Lord for the ability to remember things, at least now. And I want to thank him for being here with us this afternoon. So if you would just bow with me as we close out. Dear Heavenly Father, we give you all the praise and all the honor and all the glory. We of ourselves can do nothing, but with you, we can do everything. And so we ask, Lord, that you would help us to not only know what you want from us, but that you would imbue us with the Holy Spirit so we can have the strength to do it. We ask, Lord, that you would guide and direct us during this week so that we can be here next Sabbath. Keep us, Lord, as we do our part. Work with us, Lord, so that we might remain healthy and willing to do your will. In Jesus' name, amen.